Company of Wolves is a 1984 horror film based on the short story from Angela Carter's feminist folktale anthology The Bloody Chamber. The protagonist is Rosaleen, a teenage girl who dreams she lives in the 18th century fairy tale forest of Little Red Riding Hood. In this world, she navigates her developing sexuality through telling, receiving, and dreaming various disturbing stories. The framing of the story within a dream positions us in a purely psychological space in which any aspect of the mise-en-scène can be viewed through the lens of Rosaleen's adolescent subconscious. The first fairy tale told to Rosaleen comes from her grandmother. A man who abandoned his wife on their wedding night comes back years later, but when he sees that she has remarried and had children, his jealous rage morphs into a disturbing transformation. The gruesome special effects and grisly sound design capitalise on conventional horror aesthetics to strike fear into the audience as well as the dreaming Rosaleen, more specifically, a fear of the phallic image of a werewolf emerging slowly from a man's body. I would argue that the warmth, domesticity and coziness of the house constitutes a yonic space, and the graphic body horror that takes place within its walls is a warning against the potentially violent threat of male sexuality, something Rosaleen has to deal with constantly in her day-to-day life within the dream. Throughout the film, predatory men are symbolically linked to wolves. Being told to stay on the path in the woods is therefore not so much a survival tip for Rosaleen's dream self as it is a psychological representation of an all too familiar piece of advice given to teenage girls the world over. This is symbolised most clearly in another of her grandmother's tales, in which a young boy is given a potion by the devil which causes hairs to sprout from his chest. However, vines emerge from the ground to trap him, an image reminiscent of the claustrophobic nightmares that are common at this age. Repeated images of the moon and flowers, and bold use of the colour red evoke menstruation, contributing also to this semantic field. Overall, the world of Rosaleen's dream is rich with symbolic mise-en-scène, most notably in the moments of body horror, evoking both a feminine fear of male sexuality as well as a more universal fear of bodily change and the unstable sense of self that comes with it.
Now, as then, 'tis simple truth. Sweetest tongue has sharpest tooth.